Right, let's get started. Um, Welcome to Afternoon Talk with Damian Anderson. I am your host, Damian Anderson here. And on today, I have a very special guest with me on today. Um, he is a educational and a behavior consultant, and he has been a lot of more things. So I'm gonna introduce y'all. Please correct me if I mispronounce your name. Um, Ruth is
Rufus.
okay. Zechariah. So,
That's it. That's it.
all right. So, welcome to my show. Welcome to my show.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So, like what I do on my show before I get started, I like to give my listeners, my viewers, a chance for my guests to give like a little background of themselves. So,
Okay.
would you like to just give them like a little background of like who you are too?
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Well, again, like you said, my name is Rufus Zechariah. I currently live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I grew up in a small town called Grifton, North Carolina, about 4 hours from Charlotte. Moved to Charlotte to attend UNC Charlotte, where I got my undergrad degree in elementary education and mathematics. That was back in 2010 when I graduated. So as you can, I'm a little up there. I'm 31. Look, I'm proud to say it. Proud to say that. And then in 2013, I received my master's in curriculum instruction from Concordia University. Throughout my educational career, I started off teaching fourth grade. Taught that for 2 years. And then I looped up with that second group of fourth graders and taught them fifth grade that next year. And then from there, I decided to just change a little path. I went the charter school route after that, after those 3 years. So I've been very exposed to a lot of different educational environments. The first school I worked at was a very Title I, very heavily African American and Hispanic population. When I transitioned over to the charter school in my fourth year, and that fourth year I actually taught third grade. That school was the total opposite. I had kids that parents were millionaires. So as you can tell, that the total dynamics totally changed, especially from the parents' interaction, the parent involvement, even the interaction between the students and how much more they were giving me as in me trying to pull from them. And then from there, after that third grade year, I transitioned to become their kindergarten through fourth grade facilitator. So I was over the kindergarten through fourth grade teachers and just kind of work with them a little bit to try to, just hone their skills and whatnot. Unfortunately, during that transition, that's when I developed some very, very serious health issues that kind of caused me to just kind of a little bit. I wasn't able to do exactly what I was used to. And that carried on for a number of years, even though I transitioned from different schools. Because after I left the charter school, I went back to what is considered what at the time was considered the worst school in Charlotte. It was called Reed Park. And then I did not last at all there. The spirit, and I became very, 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 very sick, and had to leave in the middle of the school year. And through that, I transitioned back to movement school in 2017, and was their math interventionist. So math, like I said, math is my thing. I love reading as well, but there's just something about numbers that really connect with me. From there, unfortunately, my illness did return. I don't really speak about what it is. I'll just go with this, the C word. I don't give power to it. That's why I just call it the C word.
Okay.
But that did return back in early 2018. And that forced me to really, really take a look at myself and decide, okay, what is God trying to tell you? What is God trying to tell you? And from there, thank God I was able to, beat it twice. Yes. And from there, from that moment, I decided to start developing my own programs and start doing things and start approaching education how I felt like that it should be approached. And that's why I started my own tutoring company, started my own event planning company, as well as started my own YouTube channel that is really geared towards holistic health.
Right.
So that's basically me in a nutshell.
All right. Well, all right. Well, that is great. That is great. So today, let's just hop right into today of what we're going to talk about. So this right here, today, we are going to talk about the benefits of having a Black male educator quite on early in schools. So I want to hear quite of your thoughts quite on this. I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Okay. As a Black male educator myself, I definitely understand the importance of having, and not just that, I would say definitely elementary. A lot of times when African Americans, we go into education, we always think about middle school and high school. And that's generally where society will try to place us.
Yeah.
If we want to be teachers, they will automatically try to put us in middle school, automatically try to put us in high school, simply because they want us to be that disciplinarian. We're done with that. We're done with that. We need to be in the elementary. As soon as the kids get in there, kindergarten teachers, pre-K teachers, first grade teachers, they need to have that exposure early on, because let's face it, a lot of these kids, whether they're Black, white, Caucasian, whatever they are, they don't have that father figure there. They don't have it at all. So when they come to school and they still don't have it, it's like, well, where are they getting that connection from? If they're only with their parent, their mom, or if they're only with their grandma, or if they're only with auntie, or if they're only, with Susie Q, you just never know. And it's like they're not getting that full exposure that is going to help them progress in their life when they start getting those other stages of life, and they need to draw on from that experience from a male perspective. So that's why I feel that it's very, very crucial for anybody that, especially African American males, that if you're interested in education, I say start with elementary. It will be the most rewarding experience you will ever have, because the kids at that age, when I tell you they show love like no other, they give you such joy because it's genuine. They don't have an agenda. When they like you, they like you. When they love you, they love you. When they respect you, they respect you. And that's a powerful thing for both parties to experience. Because as that male, let's think about it. With me, I didn't grow up with my dad constantly around. So I did not have a Black male educator until I was in middle school. And even then, it was an art teacher. So as you can see, it's like, yeah, you have one, but that's still not a core class. It's stuff like that. That's why I say elementary, really, really focus down on kindergarten first and second, and watch those kids start to blossom and develop very, 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 very quickly. And then once they get that third grade, fourth grade year, and now it's really, really starting to hone in on the academics, they don't have any problem when it comes to the social interaction. They don't have any problems when it comes to how to get along with others and how to show respect and all that, because they've already gotten that foundation from a strong king early in their educational career.
Okay. And also, we kind of, me and them, my co-hosts, and we had like a guest. We talk about this quite like on our podcast. When we kind of see they they see us, as the disciplinarian. Like, to me, like, I don't understand as why do they see us as that? To me, that just, we are not there to, to do that all the time. I mean,
all the time.
yes, that just like really kind of like bugs me to death. I mean, we are not there 24/7 to do that all the time. I mean, that's just, I mean,
it's crazy. It's constant. What I've noticed with that is a lot of times they view the Black male educator as, quote unquote, he's gonna be the mean one, or he's gonna be the one that got to come in with the iron fist,
yes,
and whatnot, and that right there puts limits on what that Black male educator can do, because now you have that image in my mind where anytime you have a problem with any child, whether they're in my classroom or not, oh, he has to go see Mr. Hill. Oh, you go down to Mr. Hill. I'm like, why do I'm teaching 4th or 5th grade? Why do I have this 2nd or 3rd grader in my room? Simply because you want them to see or want them to have that, quote unquote, fear, which is what it truly is. They want to try to put fear into these young kids when it comes to looking at the African American male. That's the truth. They want those kids to grow up fearing us as opposed to loving us.
Right. Yeah. So I just, with that, so we need to, also, we need to like bring up also that 2% of the African male, of bringing that 2% more, because to me, that's just like, we also talk about that on our podcast, on our show. That, to me, that's just like ridiculous. We need to up it. We need to just, that's just, that's just like really, that's just sad to me. That's just.
It's sad that it's that low. So 2%, when we clearly are the majority.
Yes.
In the and people, and it's like, why are we constantly allowing someone else to educate our kids? Why aren't we developing programs? Why aren't we opening schools? Why aren't we doing those things and really taking charge of our kids' education, as opposed to letting it fall in the hands, and I'm not afraid to say it, letting it fall in the hands of the government? I'm a big advocate for charter schools, for home schools, for any alternative educational methods, because I know that a lot of times in public education, it's cookie cutter. And kids are fed information as opposed to being allowed to explore and allowed to really discover the information on their own. My philosophy was always, if I can ignite that curiosity in my kids, then they will be lifelong learners long after they leave me. And that's the goal. That has always been my mindset when I approached education, is I could care less if I teach you how to solve this 2 + 2 problem, or if I can teach you how to read. If I can teach you the fact that you can go out there and find these skills and discover these skills and hone these skills on your own without anybody telling you to, then I've done my job.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. So, yeah. So I want to ask you this question right here. Do you believe, do you think school districts around the world, do you think they want do you think that they want us, Black educators, in schools?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
Honestly, I think it's very clear of who they prefer as educators. It's the Caucasian woman. It's very obvious. They are the ones that get the most scholarships to these programs. They're the ones that get, those are the ones that get promoted most often when it comes to higher positions after teaching, as it comes to facilitating, when it comes to being admins. And I always look at it, and I used to always keep my mouth shut when I just would observe, the choices that some of these districts makes when it comes to appointing administrators, and when it comes to giving opportunities to, African Americans, whether it be male or female. I'll give you one example. When I was at Cabarrus Charter Academy, which is a school from Charter Schools USA, I don't mind exposing them because I just feel like they are truly not what they say they are. I worked with them for 2 years. That was the school I was that facilitator. I taught third grade and then was a facilitator. They have a great vision that they like to spread out that says putting students first. But through my experience, every decision that they ever made was always about putting them first, always about putting the money first, always about putting the parents first and making sure they're happy. It was never about the students. So I was just like, And then one instance, that school year, we had to go through a big transition where we lost our principal, our initial principal, and they, they made the AP principal, and then they had two people that were stepping in that AP role. One was my very, very good friend. She was African American, and then there was another lady who was Caucasian. So we knew that throughout the rest of that school year that one of them, they were basically in a couple of months interview to see who was going to get that position for the new school year. Okay, so things started to progress, and let me just give you a little bit background about those two people. One, the African American, she had her degree in education, had her admin, in the process of finishing her admin license, had taught for numerous years, was the science facilitator, worked at numerous schools, just really had a good rapport with the students. The other lady, she was a fourth grade teacher. She looked at her results and stuff like that towards the end of the year, totally dismissal. Totally, I was like, okay. And then through those couple of months, she really didn't offer any type of support to the teacher. She really didn't, because she didn't have the admin degree. She didn't have that knowledge. She didn't know how to do this type of form and how to do that form and how to be in compliant with all that. However, tell me why she was the one that got the position during the summer. That's exactly what we said. And we were like, it just did not make sense at all. They couldn't justify it.
Wow.
They couldn't justify it. You have this beautiful African-American woman that had all the pedigree in the world, had all the results in the world, but you still chose to go with someone that fit your image.
Well, okay then. Well,
so, and the only reason I feel that I was able to be promoted as being that facilitator that next year was as the academic facilitator because of my rapport with the teachers and my rapport with the principal that had left and the new principal, basically the AP that was there when she was there. They knew my work ethic. My results proved it. My attitude, my demeanor is something that they saw that they needed in order to keep some teachers there. Because there was a lot of teachers during that time that were ready to leave. But once they found out that I was going to be the facilitator, they decided to stay. So again, that was a very strategic move on their part.
Okay. Okay, then. Well, huh. Well,
Let me ask you a question. During your educational career, how many Black male educators have you encountered as far as, being exposed to?
um, I only, about only two.
Mm. And that's no, that's what I would say. That's normal for is they'll have maybe one. Like I said, it'll usually be an extra teacher, so like the art teacher, the PE teacher, someone like the we would get like the science, like a science facilitator or something like that. It was never the core teacher. And like I said, I never had one up until middle school, and that was art. And then I had one in PE. And then I can say that after that was it. I did not have one in high school, which was very surprising. From what I can remember, I didn't have any Black male educators in high school. Luckily I did have plenty of African American women in high school, but it's again Caucasian. They still heavily dominated. And then now, what was great though is I did have my principal in high school was African American.
Yeah.
Yes, his name was Mr. Sims. And again, with that, I still feel like they had him there as a figure of a discipline. Because once he retired and once he left or whatnot, of course, they gave the reins over to the other persuasion. And from that, the school changed. You don't really hear a lot of the alumni. I mean, they don't go back as much. That community feel is no longer there like it used to be. It started to rebuild because they had a really good, successful football season last year. So that kind of helped to kind of rebuild that community atmosphere. But it just wasn't there. So I'm excited to see next school year what it looks like in that district. Because like I said, I'm from the 252, which is it's a smaller area code back on the East Coast. And in my district, Lenore County, which is what it was a very, very small. They were only like, there was probably maybe 8 or 9 elementary schools. And then there were 3 middle schools. And then there were 3 high schools. So it's like we truly all fed into each other. The competition was all, it was like right there. Mm-hmm. And my high school and my middle school at the time was always the one that not necessarily got the bad rep. We were in the middle.
Okay. We
were in the middle. We had a good balance of it being very diverse. We had a pretty good population as far as, whites, Hispanics, all of that good stuff. Mm-hmm. And some of the other schools were either heavy one way or heavy the other way. So I was truly blessed with being exposed to that diverse atmosphere, which allowed, me to develop those social skills and develop that acceptance of people that weren't like me, and for them to see me and see others. It really helped. So that's why I truly believe that we have to have a diverse population in all schools. Now that only goes to say for when we are talking about public schools. Mm-hmm. Now, because I'm a big advocate for homeschools and charter schools, and those I feel like should definitely be geared towards a specific type of population. So when you get ready to open a charter school, open up a high school, you need to have a clear vision about the type of kids you want in your school and go out and develop those programs and develop the marketing for those type of kids, because it's truly going to be your vision. And then you can teach them exactly what you want to teach them. And that should include how to be, social interaction and how to, collaborate with others that aren't like you, that aren't in the school, but you're able to do it at a different rate and a different pace and really give these kids truth, because it's just them. When you are in an environment when it's just you, when it just looks like you have a tendency to be more open, a tendency to be more receptive of whatever the messages that are being relayed to you.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I have something here I want to share.
Okay.
So, so I found this. The University of Pennsylvania Professor Mary Beth Gassman argued that the university failed to hire Black professors because they simply did not want them. So, this is quoted, I have learned that faculties will bend the rules, knock down walls, and build bridges to hire those they really want, often white colleagues. But when it comes to hiring faculties of color, they have play by the rules and get angry when exceptions are made. So, now with this, I kind of like argue, like the same is probably is true with the respect to K through 12 school districts. If they want to like hire Black male teachers, they could, but Black male teachers, they should be hired for the right reasons.
I agree, definitely agree.
With their, with their kind of like success in their minds.
Yes.
So that's my thoughts on this, right? So what do you kind of like think on this?
I definitely think that is totally true. Even the example that I gave with the charter school that hired the teacher that wasn't qualified to be AP,
yes,
over someone who did actually have an AP degree.
Yes.
It's like, huh? But I definitely feel that it comes down to basically they're intimidated by us. They know that if they give us those type of positions, that we're not going to put up with a lot of mess. That we're going to stand up for what we believe in, and sometimes that can get very confrontational. And I'm one that I have such a passion for education. Oh, I will argue you down. And this is because I have the love for these kids, for the youth. I truly put them first. So if you come at me with anything that is truly not going to benefit these kids, we're going to go at it. And I might not, and that's what I might not win that battle, but I'm going to let it be known that I was not in support of the things that you're trying to do.
Exactly.
So when things do fall apart, which they always do, you can come back and say, I was like, and I never say I told you so. That's not me. I just say, and I wait for them to come back and search for a solution from me. That's how I look at it. It's because I'm never going to have to feel like I have to always assert my authority. It's just my opinion.
You're right.
You don't have to accept it or anything like that. I just know what I believe, and I don't mind standing up for that. And it took me a while. Like I said, early in my career, my first year, my second year of teaching, I definitely had a problem with that. My very first year teaching was very interesting. I was, like I said, I taught fourth grade math and science my very first year. And the way they grouped the kids there that year was they did it by quote unquote test scores from the previous year. So if, you had your lows, you had your highs, you had your needs, blah, 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 blah. And they chose me to teach the high kids. Now, people don't understand teaching the high kids is the hardest thing to teach because they come with knowledge already above their grade level. So it forces that teacher to really have to dig and really have to explore and really come up with some things that are going to push them to another level. And that can be very, very, very stressful for a brand new teacher.
Yeah.
Luckily, I knew that I was always destined to be a teacher. So I welcomed that challenge. So I didn't have to fall into that issue. The issue that I fell into was with the parents.
Mm-hmm.
The parents of that school, and that was a Title I school. But since I had the kids that were quote unquote higher, their parents were a little bit more involved. And I tell you, they were, in the beginning, they were not happy with me at all. And I think it simply was because I was a first year teacher and that I was very, very young. And they didn't think that I was qualified to teach their child, when in reality, let's be real, first, second, third year teachers are the most qualified to teach anyone because they are the ones that have that brand new knowledge fresh out of college.
Mm-hmm.
So they are the ones that truly have the most potential to rock test scores. And it's not about a test score, but that's still how districts like to approach how the measure of a teacher is looking at their test scores. But those are the ones that truly have the opportunity to show some unbelievable growth with their kids because they have those best practices that truly are best practices right then and there, as opposed to the teacher that has been teaching for 10 and 15 years and always go to these professional development workshops, but aren't really paying attention in these professional development workshops. So when it came down to the parents, and I had parents that would go see the principal about me as opposed to coming to me first. I had parents that would go to my team lead as opposed to coming to me first. And they were looking at me like, But when I would get in the meetings and I would start to actually speak, it changed. They would be like, oh, yes, I know what I'm doing. Look, I know what I'm doing. And from that, after those scores and stuff came back, and when I tell you that day, I will never forget it because it literally, as I'm about to bring tears to my eyes now, because I remember one particular kid, his name was Chancellor. And Chancellor had failed third grade. And so he did third grade twice, and that was his first time being promoted to fourth grade. And since he did third grade twice, his second year's test scores were, of course, really, really high. So he was placed in my group. Now listen to what I said. You failed third grade the first time, but because you had already had it, the second time, your test scores were unbelievable. So they placed him in my group. Now I knew that he was not qualified technically to be in my group because that could have just been luck. And you've already been exposed to that. I mean, you should have had a good test scores. You had it twice. So I really had to work with him and a couple of others, but he always comes to mind because when the test scores came back, and I just remember him because he wasn't in my homeroom, but I just remember him running down to my classroom and showing me his paper, and he was like, "Mr. Hill, I did it. That baby got 4s on his, the first time around, when he had 1s in third grade and 2s in third grade, and he went from that to a 4 the first time around. And I was like, and right then and there, I knew, like, I'm gonna have some tough days. I'm gonna have kids. I'm gonna have all this stuff, but I knew that this was truly my calling. Because the joy in his face, the amount of just pure happiness that he was able to achieve something that, let's be real, no one probably expected that. And I can be real, I wasn't sure, but I did notice, how he was progressing, and he was always that, that C average student as opposed, whatnot. And I knew that his confidence was taking hits sometimes because he was in that high group, and some of those kids, they were very high. And some kids at that age, when they're around, they have that attitude why you don't know how to do it? I know, that type of thing, and that can really damage kids early on. So I just had to be very strategic about, who I placed him with and who he was working with. And it takes a lot of work, but that's the sign of a true educator. That's the sign of a true facilitator, because I feel like that's what you have to be. You can no longer be a teacher in your classroom. You have to be the facilitator of your classroom, meaning you can't be the one that's always giving the knowledge. You have to give these kids, whether it's, I don't care if it's kindergarten, give these kids the opportunity to teach themselves and to teach each other. Form those teacher, those quote unquote facilitator groups, those teacher groups. Give them a topic to go out and explore on their own, and then come back and present to the class. And watch that their minds start to be like, it's just gonna start to blossom, because they're getting that knowledge now from who? From someone that looks like them, that's the same age as them. They're gonna receive it a lot different. Mm-hmm. That's why I say you have to be the facilitator of your classroom now, as opposed to just being a teacher.
Wow. Oh, wow. Well, that's great. That's great right there. Yeah. So, yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to add to this discussion before we wrap this up?
Okay, let's see. I would just say, people that are, students that are about to venture into, maybe it's their first year, first, second, third year, or even if you're just about to enter into college and begin that journey of becoming that facilitator, I would say remain authentic. Mm-hmm. So personally, remain authentic, meaning don't start to try to change yourself to fit the mold of what you think, or what you think they want as a teacher, or what you think they want as an educator. Truly be yourself through the entire process, even if it's, taking classes, when it's standing up doing presentations, when it's going on, I don't know what you guys call them there, but here we call them clinical experiences. So that's like when you go in, you're not a teacher yet, but you go in and observe other teachers. You go in and just take notes. You go in and volunteer and whatnot. Truly be authentic in the way you approach it. If you're that extra crazy type of teacher that I was, like I used to do cartwheels in my classroom, and the kids would just be like, Mr. Hill, you crazy. I was like, I know. I said, but you love me though, don't you? And they're like, I said, because it gives the kids that opportunity to see you as human. Mm-hmm. It gives the kids the opportunity to see you as, oh, they're just another person. I don't have to be scared. I can truly share with them. And since I developed that type of relationship, kids used to tell me things that they would never tell anybody else. And that's how I built that. I always have that relationship with kids. Even kids to this day, when they see me, and I might not remember their names, but boy, they sure remember me. And it just gives you good energy all the time, just to know, wow, I truly have made a difference. Because all I needed to do was reach what? Just one kid in my career, and I would have been happy. And just to see that constantly coming back in, even from other teachers and other people that I've worked with. Like I said, I've worked at a numerous of schools throughout my educational career. I want to say a total of 5 or 6, and still get that type of love from the people that work there. I knew I could still go back to any school right now that I've ever worked at and have that same type of love like I just left yesterday. And that's a sign of not only a great educator and facilitator, but that's the sign of just a genuine, authentic person. Is when you can constantly have that love from others when you're no longer in their presence, or when the situation didn't go like you thought it would go, or something like that. Is when you can still put all of that beside you and just share and just be blissful in each other's presence. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would say, is just remain authentic during this journey. All
righty then. So I would like to thank you for coming onto my show today. Great for having you on. A great discussion we had. So
Yes,
thank
yes.
you, thank you for coming on. You are welcome to come back anytime you like, anytime.
All right.
Um,
Sounds good.
all right. So, where can people like follow you at on?
Gotcha. Okay. You could follow me on Instagram. I have a couple of different accounts, but I would say the main one is to follow my personal account, which is at 24K, the golden one. That's also on Facebook as well. If you would like to follow my business page, which is where I have things about my tutoring. I do a gift basket, tissue creation award, all that good stuff. You can follow me at CS by RZ. So again, that was CS by BYRZ. And that's on Instagram and as well as Facebook as well. And then my actual website, you can visit and see what I offer and things that I'm doing and whatnot is www.creativesimplicitybyrz.com.
All right. All right.
All right.
So, make sure that you follow Afternoon Talk on all of my social media accounts, you guys. So make sure you do that. And also, you guys, make sure you follow my personal accounts as well. So, episode three. So, can't wait to do episode 4 with you guys. So, the next episode, the next video, a great discussion with an amazing guest. So make sure you watch that video and watch this episode as well. So until next time, you guys, this is Afternoon Talk with Damian Anderson. So I will see y'all into the next video. Have a great and fantastic day.
All right. Peace.